My name is Yair Davidi. I'm speaking to you from Israel, in the state of Israel, from an area on the so-called West Bank of Israel. And we are now about to discuss an aspect concerning the lost 10 tribes. The lost 10 tribes of Israel are the majority in the numerical sense of the tribes of Israel. The 12 tribes of Israel are split into two different sections. 10 out of the 12 tribes were taken away by the Assyrians. They lost consciousness of their ancestry. They got lost. But we have traced them to the west. And that is what we have been concentrated upon, telling people that the lost 10 tribes are amongst Western peoples. That is where the lost 10 tribes are. Whatever other considerations have to be taken into account, that is the main point. The lost 10 tribes are amongst Western peoples. They are amongst Western nations. That is where the lost 10 tribes are. And we have numerous proofs about this. We have proofs about this. We can prove it from the Bible. We can prove it from secular evidence. We can prove it from rabbinical sources, mythology, archaeology. We have done so. That is what we do all day long. That is what we concentrate upon, researching this subject and propagating knowledge about it, and letting people know this truth. And that is the truth. And amongst the numerous biblical proofs, we have the fact that 10 tribes was prophesied that they would inherit the gates of their enemies. Strategic thoroughfares would be theirs. That would be their policy in an international sense. And that is what we find first the British Empire, and after that the USA today does. That is what they do. They try and gain access, gain control of strategic thoroughfares, strategic ingress and egress passes, points, gates that give them potential control or potential influence in a military sense over nations that are liable to be hostile to them. And that is what they have always done. And this was prophesied. It was prophesied in Genesis 22:17. It was prophesied in Genesis 24:60. It was also said that they would be numerous, extremely numerous in a worldwide sense. And this is what we have found. This is what was said. And it was said that there would be the dominant world power. Numbers 24:7-9. Micah 5:7-9. And so on, that they would be the battle axe of the Almighty, or the policeman of the globe, in Jeremiah 51:20, that they were to rule over other peoples, Genesis 27:29, Psalms 47:3, be seafarers and uplifting influence on other nations, a light to the Gentiles. And that is what they have been. Isaiah 42:1, Genesis 12:2-3, and so on. There are numerous points of evidence. It was also said that it would be symbolized by a lion and unicorn, as we find in the British coat of arms. See in Numbers 24:7-9, King James version, which is in this specific instance is an accurate translation of the Hebrew original, talking about a lion and a unicorn representing Israel. It was said that they would be located at the ends of the earth, that they would be wealthy, relatively speaking prosperous, and that they would be in isles of the sea, and that they would be in certain areas where they are now located and where we find them. And we have much more of this along the same lines. We have talked about it, we've given talks about it, and discussed the ins and outs and all the different points concerning it. Present, we are going to do another point. There's another point that is worth taking into consideration. The lost 10 tribes are not necessarily to be alone. Now we say the lost 10 tribes are amongst Western nations, and this is a new point, a new field of evidence, one could say. People have been speaking about this and discussing it for hundreds of years in one way or another. But it's never really been conventionally accepted. It's never actually reached the mainstream. It's always been associated with eccentrics, one could say. And a lot of prejudice has to be overcome before one can even receive a hearing, before people will even listen to you. So naturally we tend to emphasize this point: the lost 10 tribes are amongst Western nations. And so we should. because considering the opposition that we have to put up a counter pressure to this and to emphasize the points that the Lost Ten Tribes are in those regions. But indications are from numerous sources that they would not be alone, or that they would either be intermixed with other peoples, or they would be dwelling alongside them or federated with them, that somehow or other they would be associated with the different groups of nations. And these nations are from Gomer and from Edom. And to prove this and to put it in context, we bring numerous sources and different aspects of study, and it can become quite complicated, quite convoluted, but it is actually convincing. But for our point of view, in order to give you an introduction to it, we decided just to take one point concerning Gomer and the Lost Ten Tribes of Israel, one point in one source, and show how it points in this direction. So we have the book of Hosea, chapter 1. In this book, chapter 1, Hosea is told to take a loose woman, a whore, a woman of disrepute, one could say, and to have children with her. And he does so, and he takes this woman and he has children with her, and each one of the 3 children is given a name. And then we are told that these names given to each of the children represent the fates of the 10 tribes going into exile. It does not represent Judah. Judah is explicitly, in verse 7, excluded from the equation. It says, God himself says he's not speaking about Judah, he's speaking about Israel. The 10 tribes of Israel was divided into 2 different sections. It was Israel, the 10 tribes in the north, Judah in the south. And God himself says that he is not speaking about Judah. Or have compassion on the house of Judah and deliver them by the Lord their God. He's not speaking about Judah, he's speaking about the 10 tribes when he speaks about the sons of Gomer. And we are told, I'll just give you a few excerpts from this chapter 1. He says, so when he took Gomer, the daughter of Diblaim, and she conceived and bore him a son. And the Lord said to him, name him Yezreel, or Jezreel, as it's transliterated. Jezreel can mean both scatter abroad, scatter out, or gather in. And it seems that in this prophecy, both applications are given. First, Israelites are to be scattered abroad, spread abroad, and afterwards they were to be gathered in. And he says that at all events, the first child was named Jezreel. And then she conceived again and gave birth to a daughter. And the Lord said, name her Lo Ruhama, that is will not be shown mercy, not be shown compassion. Lo Ruhama, Lo is no, is negative. Lo Ruhama, for I will no longer have compassion on the house of Israel, that I will ever forgive them. But I have compassion on the house of Judah, as he continues in verse 7, where he excludes Judah from the equation. He goes on, and when she had weaned Lo Ruhama, in verse 8, she conceived and gave birth to a son. And the Lord said, name him Lo Ami. Lo Ami, again, Lo Ami, not my people. For you are not my people, and I shall not be for you. The number of the sons of Israel will be like the sands of the sea, which cannot be measured or numbered. In the place where it was said to them, you are not my people, it shall be said unto them, you are the sons of the living God. The sons of Judah and the sons of Israel will be gathered together and will appoint for themselves one leader, and they will go up from the land, for great will be the day of Jezreel. Where Jezreel, in this sense, now means in gathering. And so, this is what we have read, and this is what has been told. We have been told, and what exactly does it mean? So we find that there was a group of peoples known as Gomer, the sons of Gomer. In Genesis 10. Verses 1 to 3, it says, these are the records of the generations of Shem, Ham, and Japheth, the sons of Noah. And sons were born to them after the flood. The sons of Japheth were Gomer, and Magog, and Madai, and Javan, and Tubal, and Meshach, and Tiras. The sons of Gomer were Ashkenaz, and Riphath, and Togarmah. Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. These are the names of the sons of Gomer. And here we find the name Gomer, and we find that names of peoples are related to Gomer, and these same peoples we trace, and we find them in the north of the land of Israel, in the Caucasus region, around the region of Armenia, and what was in also Media, all that area. We find peoples who are associated with Gomer. And we find that these peoples became the Sumerians and the Scythians, and not only that, but we find that Israelites were exiled. According to archaeological findings, we find Israel who were exiled, confederating with them, being identified with them, in effect becoming part of them. We don't exactly know how, to what degree, whether they intermixed with them altogether, or were aligned with them alongside them without intermixing. That is another point. But they were with them. And this ties in with the blessing, with the Gomer, the sons of Gomer. He is told to take a loose woman. Hosea was told to take a loose woman, have children from them, and these children represent the tribes of Israel, and this woman is called Gomer. So here we see a union with Gomer, coming forth these children, these strange children who are not recognized at first as the children of Israel. But we saw that he had these children, and they were given these names. Then it was said that they will become multiplied, that will increase and be multiplied, and later on we also see that not only will they be increased and multiplied exceedingly, but also receive other blessings after that. They will once more be reconciled to God Almighty, and they shall reunite with Judah. In other words, the aspects of the blessings, the things that were promised to them, will be fulfilled to them, whilst they are in a state of not being known, of not being recognized by God Almighty. So this fits in with the scenario of the lost 10 tribes lost their identity, they became like the Gentiles, but nevertheless they fulfilled at least a good portion of the promises that had been given to all of Israel, because that was the task, that was part of the reason that God Almighty had, for his own reasons. He wanted them to be lost, to lose consciousness of their ancestry, to fulfill the blessings for the sake of humanity that they had to fulfill, and after that to recognize who they were, to be once more reconciled to God and reconciled and reunified with Judah. This is what Hosea 1 has been saying, and this fits in with the rest of the prophecies, and this also fits in with our archaeological findings. You saw in Hosea 1, Gomer gave birth to Jezreel, then to Lo-Ruhamah, not be shown compassion, and then to Lo-Ami. And then it says that the number of the sons of Israel in verse 10 will be like the sand of the sea that cannot be measured or numbered, and in the place where it is said to them, you are not my people, will be said to them, you are the sons of the living God. And the sons of Judah and the sons of Israel will be gathered together, and they will appoint themselves one leader and will go up to the land, for great will be the day of Jezreel. In other words, the blessings will be fulfilled in these sons of Gomer, whilst they are still in the state of being disowned, whilst they are still in the mode of being Jezreel, of being Lo-Ruhamah, of being Lo-Ami. In that very state, then they shall increase and be multiplied, and the other blessings shall come to them, and after that they shall be reconciled to God Almighty. This is what Hosea, according to the simple meaning of the verses, is saying, and this fits in with the rest of the Bible and with other sources when we bring them all together, as we shall show it later. Thank you, may the Lord God of Israel bless you.